being tested unless the exposed person had COVID within the last 3 months. News 10 NBC asked some Brighton parents their thoughts about the change.
I think that's very exciting. I think we need signs of hope right now more than ever, and I love that we are making progress in this pandemic. I think Brighton High School has done a really great job of both supporting following the mandates, but also,
you know, what's really sad is to think back how many times now we've had an unelected governor in this state.
Optional at this point. She's proud her daughter will continue to wear.
And this is what the third time in the last decade
to make one temporary pandemic policy permanent as case numbers drop. The governor spoke today at a Brooklyn wine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely not by upstate.
To go in place. This allowed people to order alcoholic beverages at restaurants to go. Hochul called current policies around liquor sales remnant of prohibition.
I just love efficiency. I have reformed various levels of government. I look at every single policy that's in place and say, why is this here? Justify this for me. And if the answer is because that's the way we've always done it, I will say wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because it was Spitzer who got replaced. I'm trying to think, did another governor get replaced within the last 10 or 15 years?
Changing its visitation guidelines.
Or is it 2 times now we've had this?
Declining. Patients will now be allowed 2 designated visitors, 1 each day. In the emergency department, 1 person can come in with a patient when the volume allows for social distancing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's been twice now. For some reason, I thought there was a 3rd case of this, but yeah, twice now.
Before coming in. A house fire Monday night in Greece left devastation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or as I call it, the Empire State.
Manitou Road is likely a total loss. Crews arrived there Monday night to find the front of the home engulfed in flames. These pictures show the damage. The 1 person living in the home did make it out safely.
News 10 NBC on the radio. Weekdays at 5 a.m., noon, 5, 6, and 11 on the WYSL stations.
Now, an hour of clarity for exhausted people of our nation mired in toxic partisanship. Left versus right. Us versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
That is right, a free solution. Maybe not a free lunch, but it's just as good. My name is Craig Miles. I'm in for Kevin Wilson today on A Free Solution. WYSL Rochester, WACK in Newark. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're online or over the air. It's good to be here. Good to be speaking with you. And good to be alive, no matter what anybody says. I know there's a lot of turmoil going on in the world, in this state, in this country. But at the end of the day, we're all still above ground. And that's and we don't have to necessarily worry about anybody bombing us right now. And those are 2 really, really big things to be thankful for. I think it's easy to get caught up in what's going on all around the world and kind of miss what you've got in your life and maybe not appreciate it as much as you could. So that's a little thought to start the program off. And tangentially related to that is we pay a lot of attention to our elected officials and what they say and what they promise us. That's how it works, right? We're going to have an election. They're going to make big promises and then they'll keep them or they won't. And oftentimes it's the latter. And that's the topic of today's show. In like a lion, out like a lamb. It's easy to talk big when you're running. All of a sudden you get in office and maybe I'm a little sheepish now. So you see this. You see this at the state level. You see it at the national level. You see it on the world stage. Putin said he wasn't going to invade Ukraine. Ukraine, had a little Joe Biden moment there. The people of Iran, Yeah, he'll never win the Iranian people. If you watched the State of the Union last night, you know what that's about. So we have a lot of promises that get made. And do they keep them? Maybe not. And if I put a lot of stock in what they say, then I get very disappointed when I thought my guy was going to be the guy to get up there and change the world. We saw it last night with Joe Biden. He went back on a few promises that he had made on the campaign trail. One big one, defund the police. He said the answer is not to defund the police, it's to fund the police last night. I don't know what happened. I do know that Black Lives Matter was very upset that Joe Biden would do such a thing. And it doesn't matter what your opinion is of Black Lives Matter or defund the police or fund the police. What matters is Joe Biden got elected on that. Well, it was one of the things that he got elected on. Mostly it was because he wasn't Trump. And people will say that. People ask, are you happy with Joe Biden? Are you happy with the way the country's going? And people will respond, yes, I am so happy. I am still so happy that Trump is not our president. Is that the only metric that matters? To some people, it is. So it doesn't matter what your opinion is of Black Lives Matter or of defund the police. What matters is Joe Biden got elected saying one thing, and then all of a sudden a year later, now he's saying the exact opposite. Is it because he's had a come to Jesus moment? Did he realize that he was wrong? Did he intend on keeping that promise in the first place? Is the system just way too big for one man to make a change? What is going on here? I think it's a little bit of everything. But I think the majority of it is, again, it's easy to be a candidate, not so easy to get things done that you promised you were going to do. And I think we saw a lot of that from Joe Biden last night in the State of the Union address. We see it from our governor, Kathy Hochul. She has made a lot of promises, and I guess we'll see if she makes New York State better for all of her promises. Most of her promises include creating more agencies and spending more money. And I don't know if that's gonna get the results that we're looking for here in New York. It'll get some results, probably increasing the wealth gap, making people move out of the state, and focusing on problems that aren't actually problems for New Yorkers, but just a way to feel good about what I'm doing. And I think that's another reason for the promises that you get on the campaign trail. We get big ideas, we get big promises. I'm gonna make you feel good. It feels good to promise change. It doesn't feel so good when I gotta make change, because now I gotta fight. I gotta stand by what I said. I gotta find a way to do it. And that's not as easy. So is there a way to fix it? Don't elect the same people for 47 years. That's one way I could see. Joe Biden's been in office for however long it's been, right? 47 years, 50 years. If he was going to change anything, do you think he's had a long time to do it, is my point. And last night was a lot of, Larry talks about this all the time with King Andrew, how he talk about, oh, there's all these problems in this state. It's such a horrible state. There's all these things we need to fix. Who's been in charge for the past 10 years? Yeah, same thing with Biden. Oh, this country is horrible. What are we doing? I don't know what we're doing. Why can't we fix it? To me, it was a lot of the same thing. I felt like I could have been watching this speech back in 2005, and it would have been the same speech. I was very bored with the State of the Union last night as far as the promises or the talking points. It was all more of the same thing because I almost called him Obama, which, yeah, he is. He's Obama. He's every establishment Democrat we've had. He's every establishment Republican we've had, because they promise the hope and change and then they deliver more of the same. It's been this way forever. And after the break, when we get back for the next segment, I got something on that. So stay tuned. I have a comment here. To be fair, Joe Biden never actually said he was going to defund the police. People thought he would do it after he got elected. Okay. Fair point, I suppose. But I think a lot of people, I mean, Black Lives Matter got behind him. They trumpeted him. So if it wasn't Joe Biden stumping on it, there were a lot of people speaking for him. And a lot of people thought that that's what he was going to do. I think you're right. No matter who was speaking about it. And then it comes a year later and you see the issues in San Francisco. You see the issues in New York. There was a feces attack in the subway in New York recently from a guy who had been arrested 44 times previously. I think we're starting to realize, okay, maybe we didn't get the bail reform right. Maybe it's a good idea, but maybe we should do it a little bit differently. And I think Democrats, I think Joe Biden, I think a lot of folks are realizing, this wasn't the answer. So what are we going to do? The answer is to elect people that are not part of the establishment, people that don't talk out of both sides of their mouth. And we make excuses for our team, and we need to stop doing that. No more excuses. It matters what they do after they talk the talk. Don't let them be a sheep, not a sheeple. Don't let them be sheepish. If they're going to go out there and roar like a lion on the campaign trail, make sure they keep roaring. And if they don't, hold them accountable. So I think that's what's happening with the midterms coming up. I think Democrats said, maybe all those things we roared about weren't so great. After all, we're going to get slaughtered in the midterms. Time to turn the ship around a little bit. But now I alienate all those people that voted for me. But doesn't matter. They've got all their polls. They know the places where they can grab the votes. And that's what it is in the end. It's who can I get to believe what I say? And can I get enough different people to believe it to get me in that office? And then that's the hurdle until 2 years from now or 4 years from now. And they'll forget about it because they'll hate the other guy and they're still going to vote for me. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Dave comments, exactly, term limits and educating people on how candidates in both parties play with people's minds. Yes, Dave, you are hitting it right on the head there. It is manipulative. They promise and then they don't do. And then we say, well, can you imagine how bad it would have been if someone else was in power? And that's how they get us. So term limits is a good idea. I agree with that. And watching the people and seeing how they follow through on their promises, that is important as well. So we're going to come back after the break, and I've got a little bit of a surprise. I mean, it's not a big surprise, so don't get so excited. But it's a little thought experiment. It'll be interesting for you. I was reading the book and watching the State of the Union at the same time, and it got me thinking. So I'll share more of that after the break on A Free Solution. WYSL, WACK. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be right back after the break.
I have 3 words to say about Biden: bait and switch.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovation.
So when we come back over the rejoin music, I'm going to play a quick Biden clip. It's not from last night, but it's one of his press conferences where he was stumbling and he says, "What am I doing here?"
There's nothing amusing about
How to be worded or not? It's a good clip.
Or when you need defense for a DWI charge. Christopher Johnson takes your case seriously, and you'll feel like you're his only client because when you meet with him, your case gets 100% of his attention.
I made a comment on my cousin's thread about the State of the Union. Back when Obama was president, the song "Lips Are Moving" by Meghan Trainor came out, and it was very appropriate then about Obama. And I commented that she should re-release it for Biden.
Get individual attention and integrity, experience, and expertise.
10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
415-3803. Stay safe, be healthy, drive sober. Christopher Johnson, attorney, personal injury, car or motorcycle accidents, DWI Defense.
As a veteran of the United States military, I can finally get the opportunity to enjoy special events, things that we couldn't afford, thanks to VetTix. Every empty seat at a concert, a game, or a play is a missed opportunity to say thanks to a veteran and service member. We can give our veterans a special event where they too can create their own cherished memories. Visit vettix.org. Find out how you can make a difference in a veteran's life.
Only available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com, the official Mount Worstmore line of merchandise. Top quality tees, hoodies, and coffee mugs depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who's front and center up on that mountain, and we think you'll recognize the other three. Mount Worstmore items make perfect gifts. They're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Mount Worstmore, locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
A free solution.
And what am I doing here?
Good question, Joe Biden. What are you doing here? There's a lot of people that could answer that. I don't know if you'd like the answer. My name is Craig Miles. I'm in for Kevin Wilson right now on Free Solution. Thank you so much for tuning in on WYSL or WACK or online. If you're online, make sure you comment. And if you're listening on the radio, call me, 585-346-3000. I'd love to hear your opinion on this, or maybe someone that let you down with the campaign promises. And then they got in there and, you know, all of a sudden they didn't do what they said they were going to do. I have an excerpt. Well, it's actually a jacket flap from a book. And I'm going to let you guess who it's about. He has done a few things that he promised to do, more things that he promised not to do, and still more things that his socialist opponent promised to do. He has led us into an orgy of wild spending undreamed of prior to his administration, piled commission on commission and bureau on bureau, and set up or tried to set up a federal dictatorship over all the various factories that affect the lives of our citizens. He has flouted the Constitution, which he swore an oath to support. He has made a laughingstock of the security of our national promises, and he has done all of this in the name of an emergency, which, if it ever did justify such actions, certainly justifies them no longer. Who is that about, and when was it written? Because it sounds like it could have been written today about COVID, or maybe about this Ukrainian crisis, or Uncle Joe. It was written about FDR. After the New Deal, the crisis being the Great Crash and all of those things. It comes from the book Hellbent for Election by James P. Warburg. He is the son of Paul Warburg, who is responsible, at least partially, for the Federal Reserve. So, that was almost 100 years ago. And that is my point. This is nothing new. This is nothing new, and we keep falling for it. Why do we keep falling for it? Why do we keep letting it happen? Trump was the closest thing that we had, in my opinion, to an outsider in the president's office in a long time. I'm not a Trumper. I didn't vote for Trump. I actually have never voted for a Republican or Democrat for president. So this is not me shilling for Daddy Trump. This is me saying that he posed a real threat, I believe, to the establishment, which is why he was out of there in a year. They had, or in one term, they had to get him out of there because he was bad for business. He was following through on things that he said. And again, it doesn't matter necessarily whether you agree with that or not, what he did. It matters that he said he was going to do it and he did it. And it wasn't the bait and switch. They did it in Los Angeles. Garcetti, the mayor, and the governor Newsom, they campaigned on universal health care. It came up for a vote, and no universal health care for California. So both sides are they're guilty of it, because in the end, it's just the side of the establishment, and they need the legitimacy of the power, which we give them by electing them. And then they say, okay, thank you very much. I'm going to do what I want. So Ryan, he comments, sounds like Brian LaRusso said it. I don't know who Brian LaRusso said or who he is or what he said, but if he said anything like on that flap, then yes, I would agree. Sounds like he knows what he's talking about. We also have a comment from Ryan. I will die of the Freedom variant, Tim O'Connor. The Freedom variant, Tim O'Connor, is also on A Free Solution, along with Kevin Wilson and Larry Sharp. So if you haven't checked him out, go and check him out. Brian has brought up a good point here. Trump did a bait and switch on the 2A. Okay, I'll walk back what I said a little bit then. I agree. Yep, 100%. People said he was the most libertarian president ever, but all of a sudden it came to bump stocks. And, got to ban those. Those are bad. Guns are bad. So, yeah, I agree. Yep. Nobody is guiltless in this. A lot of people made excuses for him for that. Well, at least it was just the bump stocks. He could just take the guns. You got to give the left a little bit, otherwise they'll get too unruly and they'll take everything. And that's how you bargain everything away. You put the power in the hands of people that don't know you or know what's good for you. And they use issues that are important to you as bargaining chips. And in the end, it doesn't really affect them. They've got security details. They've got a bunker to go into if the world ends. They don't care if you have an AR-15 or a bump stock, which is irrelevant. It's not for them to decide. It says so in that document that founded the country that you're allowed to have arms. No questions about that. So yes, Trump, he did go hard for guns, did go hard for the 2A, and then he took away bump stocks. So, yep, they're all guilty of it. And to be fair, there is a certain level of compromise in these situations. Also, to be fair, you have to be aware of that and not compromise sometimes, because that's how we trickle away freedoms. That's how we get into tyrannical situations. Joe Biden started off last night. Freedom will always win over tyranny, but make sure you get your vaccine because that's a federal mandate. You better get your vaccine, but it's not tyranny. No, it's freedom. You're free to do it or not do it. You just can't work. So freedom. Yeah, there was so much of that last night. Saying a bunch of stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with anything that he'd actually done politically. And Cuomo was guilty of this. And Kathy is guilty of this. And we're guilty of this. New Yorkers, for listening and for believing him. Andrew Cuomo was the king of the non sequitur. He would say this, so this. And it would have absolutely nothing to do with anything. And everyone would be, yeah, Gov, you got a point there. That's right. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? That's not connected. You just said something and then people nodded their heads. Yep. Sounds good. Accountability. That's what we need. We need to be listening all the time. And maybe it sounds good, but actually look at what they said. Does it just sound good? Does it actually make any sense? The answer is probably not. Not if you think about it for more than 2 minutes. Brian Sutton also said he endorsed red flag laws, Trump, and due process later. Yet I like take the guns first, due process later. That is a Trump quote. He said that. So yeah, he did go soft on guns. And I think that's because he's from New York, from the city, right? Even Bill O'Reilly's guilty of this. He's like, I hate the government, except we need the government. It's because he's a city boy from New York City. So those New York City Republicans are really like Democrats. So yeah. And plus Trump doesn't have to pull out a gun to defend himself. He's got all the defense he needs. No one's going to hurt him. So what do we do about it? You throw him out. You throw the out. Yep. I'm not sure where that quote comes from, but yes, that is the sentiment. If they do not do what they're doing or what they say they're going to do, you toss them. You say, I'm going to get a new one. And AOC did this with Joe Crowley. Said, you don't speak for us anymore. We're going to get him out of here. He sucks. And she did it. And that's what you've got to do. You can't make excuses. You can't say, well, Joe Crowley does suck, but he's a Democrat. And I mean, he could be a Republican. So that's what gets you in trouble. That's what gets you in trouble, because now you're excusing anything. Well, Joe Biden, inflation's gone up 500%, and we're almost in World War III. But I don't like mean tweets, so I'm still happy about it. I just shake my head when I see people still defend that. It's crazy to me, because it's okay to give someone a chance. How many chances are you going to give? And when are you going to stop defending them? Because at some point, it's not about them anymore. It's about you. It starts to come back on you. Why are you defending this guy? Why aren't you offering better solutions? And it's because we're distracted. It was COVID. Now it's the war in Ukraine. That was the first 20 minutes of the speech last night about Ukraine, about Putin, about this. It's supposed to be the State of the Union. Why are you talking about this stuff? It's because you don't want to talk about the stuff you messed up. Am I right? Am I wrong? Give me a call, 585-346-3000, or comment in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Free Solution. My name is Craig Miles on WYSL WACK in Newark. I will be back after the break.
Celebrating 35 years.
I can't help but think of the movie Wag the Dog.
Rochester and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Have you ever seen that?
Broadcast from the News 10 NBC Center for tonight.
Yeah, you should watch the movie. It's hysterical.
We'll see generally
They fabricate a war, and it's all done on stage.
We'll stay near 20 tomorrow. Wind chill single digits. Sun and clouds.
Yeah, and they make jokes about that the lunar landing was all done on a stage set.
In the low 30s. I'm Rich Gadelia, WYSL.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Because your future is worth it. MGM Associates Insurance, proudly serving the region since 1984. MGM can meet your coverage needs, ranging from home, condo, and auto, all the way to specialized policies for business, workers' comp, to limo and taxi insurance, and coverage for tech professionals like IT specialists. They can also help lead you through the confusing maze in the new world of health insurance coverage and options. MGM Associates is large enough to serve you, but small enough to care, so you don't have to wait in line on some 800 number to get prompt personal attention. MGM Associates is the only winner of the National Best Practices Award 5 times in a row. MGM is proud to support veterans groups including Heroes Home Advantage. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the professionals at MGM Associates Insurance, locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008. Or mgminsure.com, an associate of Ontario Insurance Company, 28 Canandaigua Street in Shortsville.
Drive with safety and security this winter with a little help from Victor Chevrolet. Shop now for the best selection and savings. Lease a 2022 Chevy Trailblazer LS for just $229 a month for 36 months. Or a 2021 Chevy Equinox LT, just $279 a month for 36 months. If you need a pickup, drive a 2021 Chevy Silverado 1500 for just $369 a month for 36 months. These lease deals include returning lessee rebate. All factory incentives and discounts are applied. Security deposit is waived. 10,000 mile allowance per year. 25 cents each additional mile. Must have lease and household. Tier 1 credit approval required. Lessee responsible for repair and maintenance. Conditions apply. Get details at dealer. Looking for a quality used vehicle? Victor Chevrolet has a selection that can't be beat anywhere in the region. And when it comes to service, trust your vehicle to our service department with savings on tires and batteries. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Find new roads at Victor Chevrolet. Route 96 in Victor. Visit victorchevrolet.com.
If you need a COVID-19 vaccine booster, your Livingston County Health Department and Office for the Aging offer the Moderna vaccine booster on Fridays in March, the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th from 3 to 4 p.m. at the Health Department campus in Mount Morris Building 2. You must be 18 or older. Make an appointment by Googling Livingston County Health Department or call 243-7520 to register. Rides may be available. Again, 243-7520.
Lung cancer doesn't discriminate. It affects people in big cities and in small towns. And that's why UR Medicine is making it easier for patients throughout the region to get lung cancer screening. If you're between the ages of 50 and 80 and currently smoke cigarettes, or have quit within the last 15 years, you can now get lung cancer screening at Noyes Memorial Hospital and St. James Hospital. To learn more, go to lungcancerscreening.urmc.edu. UR Medicine. Medicine of the highest order.
All-Star Custom Apparel and Design is your local source for screen print, embroidery, vinyl transfer, online storefronts, logo designs, decaling your vehicles, and promotional items. Stop in and see us at 45 High Tech Drive in Rush. Check out our Facebook page or visit our website, allstarcustomapparelanddesign.com. All-Star will get your name recognized with customer service that is second to none. Call 585-623-4000 to see what All-Star can do for you.
A free solution.
We are back on A Free Solution, WYSL, WACK in Newark. My name is Craig Miles. I am filling in for Kevin Wilson this Wednesday, this wonderful Wednesday, as a matter of fact. The title of the show is In Like a Lion, Out Like a Lamb. And that is a March pun, obviously. This morning came in like a lion here where I am. It was cold and snowy and nasty, but now the sun's coming out. So I'm going to talk about the other side of the coin here, right? About lions and lambs, political promises of lions, and then policies of sheep after they get into office. We can look at this in another way as well, which is that government comes in like a lion, but ultimately ends up going out like a lamb. I've talked about this before about cycles. We've been an empire now for 200 and some odd years. Empires last for 200 and some odd years. We came in like lion with freedom and democracy and, you know, the individual and the government can't interfere with the individual and it should stay out of their business and let people do what they want to do. And we definitely don't have that today. That is for sure. And you start to see the world kind of moving on. We're still in power. We're still on top. How long is that going to last, though, with people like Uncle Joe up there calling the shots? And I don't mind if we fall back. I mind that I can live my life, that I don't have to turn on the television and ask Governor Kathy Hochul for permission to leave my house, or, permission on where to work or things like that. So in like a lion, out like a lamb, it applies to government as a whole, because they come in with big ideas and they end up using a lot of force and telling people what to do. And there's only so much of that people will stand for. So in the end, they end up going out like a lamb. And it doesn't even have to be total governmental collapse. You see it right now with the COVID restrictions. We got to lock down. We got to use the fist to keep everyone inside. Vaccinate. Do this, do that. Listen to me. Finally, people said, I'm tired of listening to you, man. I'm so sick of it. And if you don't stop, I'm going to vote you out of office. Whew. All of a sudden, I become a little sheepish. Oh, well, those Band-Aids, actually, they worked really well, and thanks for dealing with them. And it's been really tough for the past 2 years. We really appreciate that you were going through it. We're all in this together, and we beat it. And finally, please elect me, right? So all it takes is calling their bluff, and I'm telling you, that's what we got to do. We got to call their bluff. Don't stand for it. Tell them they are full of it. Tell them they are full of it, and take back the power. And this book, I'm going to read another selection from it. Again, it's Hellbent for Election by James P. Warburg, if you're interested. And in the preface, it says, as we approach the presidential election of November 1936, it is well for us to take stock of our present situation and ask to begin to make up our minds whether we want to continue along our present course or to change it. Never in the history of our country has it been so necessary for every citizen to exercise intelligently the rights of citizenship. Old Jimmy has nailed it. It has never been as important as in 1936, apparently. And it has never been as important as today. It never stops being important. And I think we've dropped the ball a little bit, honestly. We've let the people in power distract us. We've let them promise us the world. And when they don't deliver, we say, oh, well, the Democrats stopped him. Oh, well, the Republicans stopped. Oh, well, he's only one man. Oh, what are you going to do? Why did we elect you? The Republicans are guilty of this in New York all of the time. Oh, I'm the only one that'll stand up against Governor Cuomo. I'll take on the Democrats in the Senate and in the Assembly, and I'm going to make a change. And it rolls around to budget time when we pass all of our legislation through the budget and we get all the pet projects passed, and the governor presents it in the 11th hour before it's supposed to be passed and ties the wages of all of the legislators to the passage of the bill. And then they say, oh, it's such an unfair system. What do you want me to do? I got to pass the budget. There's nothing I can do. I thought I elected you to make a change. I thought I put you in there to make a difference. If you don't want to do it, that's okay. I'll put someone else in there. But we don't do that last thing. We say, oh, it's okay. I understand. Governor Cuomo, he's a bad dude. So yeah, it's got to be hard to tell. And I'm really glad that you're not a Democrat, because you'd really make it bad. Stop it. Stop letting them get away with it. Start putting people in there that care, that actually follow through. Don't let them tell you they can't do anything and then go and make all these promises about all the things that they're going to do. They can't have it both ways. And once you call them on that, they get a little sheepish and they got to back off on the things that they're making you do, or try to change some policies to make life better for you. Because once they realize that their meal ticket is gone, now they care. They don't care when they're doing whatever they're doing and you're not threatening them with taking them out of office. They could care less. All of a sudden, now I lose my government job. Well, that makes me stand up and take notice. So hold them accountable. Don't let them get away with it. Off of the back of this book, the back cover, kind of a promotion for the book and the author, it says, we must either realize that there are certain things which we cannot have under our present system, or decide that what we want is a different system. Yup. It was true in 1936. It's true now. The system is going to system. You got to give it a shock. You got to get people in there that are not part of the system. The Larry Sharps, the AOCs. As much as I disagree with what she has to say, she was the hope and change. And again, she turned into a lamb when she got in there. Well, I got to go along with Chuck Schumer. By the way, if you watched the address last night, I don't know if they rehearsed these things or not, but it almost seems like it. Because Joe Biden was about to drop a thing about Rebuild America or something. And Chuck Schumer jumped, but Joe was fumbling his words. So it took him longer to deliver the punchline. And Chuck's standing there. And he's like, come on, say the thing. I'm up. I'm ready to clap. And he was like about to sit down and get up. And the camera went right to him too, which is why I'm like, this seems to me like this was orchestrated, right? Like we've been through this dog and pony show. Like we rehearsed it. And even if it wasn't the case for the State of the Union, it's for other things. When Joe Biden got vaccinated, it was in a set of the Oval Office. It wasn't the actual Oval Office. It was a stage made to look like the Oval Office with everybody sitting around. And everyone's like, oh, I don't know why you can't believe the fake news. Why do you call it the fake news? It's literally a show. I think last night was a circus in more ways than one. I think that was. And I had to chuckle at Chuck standing up like that and jumping the gun. Brian says they have advanced copies of the speech. Yeah, so even if it's not rehearsed, step by step or where everyone's hitting their marks, they all know what's going to happen. They've all got their laugh lines and their clap lines, and it's all a show. I mean, Trump did this too. He brought in Rush Limbaugh. He brought in a couple other people, and he says it, right? Camera cuts up to the balcony wherever these people are, and then everyone turns and claps. And so it is a show as much as it's anything else, I guess. I think it's more of a show than anything. Even Joe Biden last night, he delivered his speech and he talked about the kid with insulin and how insulin is really expensive. By the way, all these problems that he talked about last night, he's directly responsible for, because the FDA is the one that has to approve the insulin, and you can buy the exact same insulin down in Mexico for like, what do you want to cap it at? 30 something bucks? Yeah, that already happens in Mexico. There's people in the United States that drive to Mexico and buy the exact same insulin as you can buy in the United States. The only difference is all the stuff is written in Spanish on the box. That's the only difference. It's literally the same packaging, the same insulin, all of it. And the only reason it's the 30 some odd dollars down in Mexico is because there's no FDA here to artificially jack up the cost of licensing and all of those things. People can produce insulin and there's no regulatory capture there. So if Joe Biden actually wanted to, fix insulin prices, he could make it easier for people to produce insulin, to sell insulin, to allow for competition. Free market solutions on a free solution. My name is Craig Miles. I am in for Kevin Wilson on WACK Newark and WYSL in Rochester. Give me a call. Tell me what you thought about the speech last night, about all of the pomp and circumstance and whether you buy it or not. I will be back after the break on A Free Solution.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to
Yeah,
Simple
and
Tech
station
Innovation?
owner Bob
Maybe
Savage
it's
will
their
often
excellent
say,
customer service
"We've seen
or
this
attention to
movie
detail."
before."
Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds
Yeah, it's
great
kabuki theater.
relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your
A
dreams,
friend of mine
or
put up
isn't
a funny
achieving
post
your
on
goals,
Facebook
give the
because today is
professionals at
Ash
Simple Tech
Wednesday.
Innovations a
They
call
said
today
schools
for a
gave up masks for Lent.
585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Dear Dr. Sussman.
Dear Dr. Sussman, I just wanted to write to all the wonderful people who work with Dr. Sussman and Dr. Pogel at the Center for Cosmetic Dentistry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Each person in the office made me feel my smile.
Not only
was
am I
important.
completely happy with my smile, but I feel you've been there for me with all my dentistry
I've had
needs.
several dentists in my life, but never a dentist of your caliber. You have state-of-the-art.
You keep
dental
current in your field as evidenced by your numerous diplomas and certificates, and your entire staff is really the
I'm
cream of the
thrilled with the outcome of your skills and artistry. It's made such a difference in my life.
Dr. Sussman, Dr. Pogel, and the entire staff at the Center for Cosmetic Dentistry take great pride in providing not only advanced dental care, but extraordinary cosmetic dentistry. They love what they do and have a partnership with their patients toward long-term dental health.
For a bright, confident, beautiful smile.
Thank you, Dr. Sussman.
Thank you, Dr. Pogel.
Thank you.
Change your life, change your smile.
For more information, call the Center for Cosmetic Dentistry at 22 Smile or visit 22-smile.com.
The WYSL store is now open, and your car's crying for an official Voice of Liberty bumper sticker. There's a great selection to help you show your love of God, liberty, and the Constitution. Here are just a few available right now. Shut up, Fauci. Kathy Hokum. No more masking. Open the freaking schools. Scam alert January 6th. No vax mandates. God, please help us. Close the Mexican border. Save America. Stop voting for Democrats. Support the Second Amendment. And your mask doesn't protect squat. But there's more. These are standard weather-resistant bumper stickers guaranteed to get you horn honks and thumbs up in traffic. Choose from other locally made WYSL Voice of Liberty merch too, like tees, hoodies, drinkware, and more. Perfect gifts for any Liberty lover you know. Be sure to check out the exclusive WYSL Mount Worstmore shirts, hoodies, and coffee mugs depicting our 4 worst presidents. Guess who's front and center? Be free. Make a statement. Shop the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
A free solution.
The free solution is the best solution here on WYSL, WACK in Newark. My name is Craig Miles. Thanks for tuning in. And before the break, I was talking about insulin prices. But I could have been talking about inflation because Joe Biden is responsible for that too. And so is Trump. And so is every president since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913. Because the Fed just prints money out of thin air. It is not tied to gold. It's not tied to anything. And if you have a certain amount of goods and you have $10 and then you have the same amount of goods and you have $20, by definition, it now takes more money to buy the same amount of goods. And who is the only people that can make money? It is the Federal Reserve. FDR started it by taking us off the gold standard, and then Nixon finished it in 71 when he took us the rest of the way off the gold standard, because FDR said that American citizens couldn't redeem cash for gold, but that countries still could, right? So if I was Switzerland and I had American dollars, I could go and redeem them for gold. So the country still had to keep a certain amount of gold on hand in relation to the number of dollars that are printed. Nixon needed to get reelected, so he had to do something to make money cheaper. So he took us off that. They called it closing the gold window. So he took us the rest of the way off of it. And now Nobody can get gold for American dollars. And the American dollar is just worth whatever it's worth because America said so. And so now I print billions and billions and billions of dollars, and I have the same amount or less goods. Now I have a whole lot more money that it takes to buy the same amount of goods. And Joe Biden talked about income inequality. Well, the first people to get all of these new printed dollars are banks and big businesses and all of these things. So the Fed, so it's trickle-down economics. He mentioned that too. He said trickle-down economics doesn't work. Except let me print these trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars and give them to all of my friends and let them trickle down through to all you poor plebes. In the same sentence, he said this. And he said, you have to approve my pick for the Fed chair because they can fix inflation. And he's not wrong. They can fix inflation by stopping printing all of this money. But their answer is to print more, and that'll fix it. That's exactly the wrong answer. And it's been shown time and time and time again. They always make it like it's difficult to understand money. And they do it on purpose. They're like, oh, you poor citizens couldn't possibly understand. It takes someone really smart. It doesn't. If I'm making a lot of money out of thin air, then it's going to take more money to buy things. And if you want to fix income inequality, you have to stop printing money and giving it to the well-connected people. So Joe Biden thinks he's going to make a difference with that. Maybe he thinks he does. Maybe he's just saying he's going to. But my prediction is he's not going to make a difference with that, because in the same speech last night, he talked about all of the money we're going to spend. So that's just going to increase inflation. So even in the same speech, he's already gone back on the promises that he's made. Already the political wind had changed. It's mind-boggling to me, because again, this is why you have to be watching. He said, I'm going to free 60 billion barrels of oil. Well, if you Google how much we consume here in the U.S. in a day, that'll get us through 3 days. Is that going to lower gas prices? No, but it's a big number. It sounds good. Chuck Schumer can get up and clap for it. It's all a show. Don't buy it. Put people in there that haven't been in there. Shake up the system. That's the answer. Hold the people accountable. Brian says, you can't even blame the worst of inflation solely upon Nixon's temporary EO, because even every president since has renewed. Yes. Yeah. So, okay. When he did it, it was supposed to be a temporary measure. That's true. What happens with those temporary measures? Yeah. And I said that. I said every president has been responsible for this, because I blamed Uncle Joe. But then I said, and so was Obama, and so was Bush, and so was everyone. Because yes, they have. They have every single time said, yep, I'm fine with that. We don't have to go back on the gold standard. And it's actually a tax, if you think about it. Because if I go and I tax you at 30% to pay for my stuff, I get really angry when you take all that money from me. But if I print a bunch, I don't have to ask you for it. And now I get to buy a lot of cool, flashy new things. And you say it's all great because I'm not paying taxes. And look at all this stuff that we were getting. And you're not even paying taxes on it. So it's not costing you anything. Except the money supply is now way, way too much. And it takes me $20 to buy something that used to cost $1. Shelley says Kreider will beat Schumer in the next election. Thomas Kreider running for Senate against Chuck Schumer. He is a libertarian. And I hope he beats Chuck, because Chuck is horrible. No matter what Chuck tells you, Chuck is a swamp creature. Real deep. He's deep in there. He's been around forever. And I don't necessarily blame people that are in the swamp for being the swamp creature that they are. I think it's just the nature of the game. I think you make so many compromises, you make so many deals, and eventually you end up being there in whatever situation you find yourself. And you're like, how did I get here? And instead of looking at that, you just keep doing the same stuff. and say, whatever, I won't look at that. I'll just kind of be swampy. Ryan comments, there's no quit in Thomas Daniel Queter. No, there is not. That guy goes. If you haven't checked him out, go and do that. Because if you do not like Chuck Schumer, then
2 minutes.
Thomas is another option that you have. And he is definitely not establishment. He is not a swamp creature. And he will make change. And that is my point in all of this. You need to vote for the change candidates and stop voting for the same old, because they're gonna roar like a lion. They're gonna get elected. They're gonna get into office, and they're gonna become sheepish. And they're gonna do it again the next cycle, and again and again and again. So watch what they're saying, watch what they're doing. Understand that they do have to compromise, that there's some things that they can't deliver, but do not make excuses for them. Do not keep letting them get away with it. You need to hold them accountable. And that is the answer. That is the free solution to getting the lambs out of office.
1 minute.
And getting the lions in there that will stay lions throughout the entire stay, right? Change your politicians often, like diapers, somebody said. And that is the note that I will end on a free solution here on WYSL WACK this Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I will speak with you next Wednesday. Have a great week and be free.
You were out a little early on that. I gave you a minute. Yeah, when you hear the music, then you know you got 30 seconds. No problem. Yep, then we'll talk to you then next Wednesday. Good show. You're welcome. Bye.